right, welcome back to another episode of Husbandhood, where this is a platform for husbands, built by husbands, so that we can encourage and grow each other in our marriages. You know what I mean? So I'm super excited to bring back all these brothers to the stage. My man, Pastor T, my man, Pastor V, and then the one and only Cedric. Pastor Cedric.
Yeah. What up, family?
Let's go. So let's dive right in, man. You know, for the sake of time, because we can get up here and flow, and it'll feel like 2 minutes that we only been here.
Right.
So I just want to flow real quick. So you all are pastors, so I think I want to be very unique to who I have here today. So you all are pastors, and in our community, man, 2 things. One, you see pastors like in the news, in the media. It's not sometimes when it comes to the relational aspect from the husband side of being a pastor, you just don't see them last. You know what I mean? You don't see pastors sometimes with the longevity, or you just see their failures, or where they cheated, or where they molested, or where they, you know what I'm saying? It's just like these negative connotations of pastors. And so I know how that tend to push people away from the faith. Yeah. But then there's this other side of it, that your wives are considered first ladies, right? Mm-hmm. But
which is a term that my wife really does not like to.
Right, yeah. So I want to flow into that. Like, how does your wife feel about this ideal of first lady?
Well, I'll start because mine is brief. My wife hates it. Yeah, she rejects it. Everything it stands for, she rejects it, because the pressure that's put on her to wear that hat means she has to conform into something that she is not. And so in Dallas, I mean, this is where we are. First lady's got a type. They
and an expectation.
Hey, all sure. That.
So let me just share this story real quick. So because I've been called into as a pastor for 12 years, right? And so I just celebrated my anniversary, the 6-year anniversary of my marriage, right? I had been married prior, and then got divorced, and then God called me into the ministry, and then this wife is part of that, right? When we were dating, I got a Dear John letter. Saying, I understand who you are, what you're doing. I don't think I'm equipped to be what you need to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that all is that on the preconceived notions of what a first lady is supposed to be. Right. And, she didn't, my wife is incredible, flat out, but people can put so much pressure on, and they might take little jabs at her, or just use her in that space. And so it took a lot, but she was ready to let me go with the notion behind first lady. Wow. And I just told her, I said, listen, you just need to be my wife first and foremost. That's all I need you to be. This other stuff, we'll figure it out. You figure it out, redefine what it is.
Man.
But I didn't want to leave you out with.
No, it's okay. I think I got to give a shout out to what we call the First Lady Sarita Jakes, who most of us see as the First Lady of First Ladies. Like, she is eloquent. To me, the epitome of submission, beauty, elegance, and grace, beauty in motion.
Partnership, too.
Great partnership. I think, and that is a different demographic or generation. Right. I think the younger generation saw the pressures of their mothers or aunts, etc., and they felt that they could not live up to what a quote-unquote first lady really was, the pressure of it all. My wife is a preacher in her own right, a preacher, teacher. I mean, I try to tell people for years, like, y'all see me out front, but she's my secret weapon. So she's got a title all by herself. That title does not have to be in front of who she is. But I think what a shame we've done in some communities by making women feel so pressured that they had to live up or walk on eggshells within some place that they should have had a genuine relationship with God.
Right.
And so I think those are things that we have to fix culturally, particularly in African American culture. We don't typically see in other cultures that term used, first lady.
Right.
But the church has been everything for us as African Americans. It's what we spoke out politically. It's what we created business. It's what the different dynamics of family. It's what the pastor, obviously we all are pastors. The pastor was the first father of that community. The father, the uncle, the coach, the principal, etc. And I think it started out as honor, but somewhere along the line, it got mixed up.
And so with the weight of all of that, though, that pressure, right? I know for my wife, I lead a Bible study. You know, I'm not officially a pastor or anything, but one time someone said, all right, First Lady Lewis, she said, don't call me that. Don't call me that. And you know what I mean? So, but it was just how quick it was. Like, it was like she, and I know my wife, she had that look on her face like, you call me that one more time, this for work.
First lady ain't in the Bible? Where you see the word first lady in the Bible?
Right. But there's a husband side of that has to navigate that, that sees the pressure on your wife. Like, tell me about that. Like, how do you navigate as a husband and a pastor with all the pressure that comes with being on your wife?
You know, I've kind of carved out my own space, right? And I think everybody who understands me know my heart. You know, I don't travel the traditional pastor look, role, sort of those things. And so my wife is a compliment to it, you know. Yeah. I usually dress down. I really don't, you know, I wear earrings, tattoos, you know, with things of that nature. But we speak the truth of God regardless, you know. So, but I also establish a culture. You know, I'm big on culture. I'm big on culture within our ministry. And so I've helped navigate over the years a culture where everybody fits, and to include, and then to define what that role looks like for her. So she's empowered in that space, and she has autonomy to be who God has called her to be. Yeah. And, you know, and I don't want to say this wrong, but yeah, I have a pastor flex. You got a problem with me. You got a problem with her. Yeah. So yeah, we can flex with it, but I'm a protector for sure.
No, right on.
That's a husband flex.
That's a husband flex. Yeah. That's a T-shirt. Husband flex.
Hey, I'm cool, calm, and collected. Somebody asked me once, "What makes you mad?" Mess with my family.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's real.
Quick.
Yeah.
I think the more we talk about the purpose of our wives, the more that purpose is expounded upon, the less likely they have to fit into a role of a first lady. Talk about the purpose. Now, some women have a great purpose of being a first lady, an aid to the pastor. But I think the term can be, in some cultures, outdated. But I believe it was meant to honor. I believe it was meant for respect. And as a reminder for pastors that your wife comes first.
Right. Now, I love that. I love that definition of it. I really do. And I think that's a great reminder.
But, you know, it's not all she is. No. I've got friends whose their wives are doctors, but in some communities they would be considered a first lady. Their wives are teachers, they're business leaders, they're preachers, they're apostles, they're evangelists. They're much more than one monolithic term of a definition of a church structure.
Yeah. And I feel like what I'm hearing from all of y'all is like, man, no, my wife is first to me. She's not first to you. You know what I mean? And just that, I mean, all you guys have some time with marriage or just a lot of experience with marriage. And, you know, sometimes, you know, learning how to put your wife first can be a challenge as a husband. Whether it's you get that promotion, like, because one of the things we talked about one time, when a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Right? But then we don't really talk about that part where you obtain it favor.
Right.
So when that favor of God hits the marriage to the point where you're blessed, right? But that thing that God blessed you with is pulling your time, right? Like,
Come
how do
on.
you still pull? How do you still make your wife first when the calling on your life feels thick?
I think you're talking about this overall vision of God calling you.
Yeah.
And it starts out real good, baby, you're first. But then I get an opportunity, and this opportunity is going to set us up to be great.
Come on.
And sometimes we get lost in the opportunity. And and people talk about balance. And the Bible says, Proverbs 11:1, a false balance is abomination to God. A just weight is his delight.
Right.
But sometimes you spend 70% in ministry and 30% in family, and then you say, wait a minute, I got to switch it. And then sometimes your vacations aren't long enough. And then sometimes your business is 70%.
Yeah.
And then sometimes your relationship in ministry is 70%. You say, what do I do?
Man.
And I think it's like juggling the ball. I'll close with this. It's like juggling the ball. If you keep your hand on one thing too long, it's all gonna fall.
Man, something like, so when Pastor T, we walked through, he actually helped me build the Bible study platform that I operate now, and gave me a model, gave me all of that. But one of the most attractive things that people said was every time around a certain time, like we'll get off at 9, Pastor T around 8:30, 8:45 would be like, you know what? I gotta go to my wife. Right? Let me get to my wife. He always, it was a
That's
bottom
funny.
line,
That's funny.
unapologetic. I am getting to my wife, and everybody knew when that time was coming. Like, all right, Pastor T, we're gonna go get to his wife.
Right.
But it was so admirable because I'm a husband first.
And she's
You
the
know what I mean?
priority.
And she's a priority.
Yeah.
You know, to make her a priority. Like, no, hold on. I know I'm here with y'all, and I
Look.
know I'm doing what God called me to do, but my wife, I better go get
It's
to my
funny
wife.
you say that, because while I was listening, all I was thinking was it's super practical. Like,
Yeah.
you have to invest time, which means carve out a time and a space, because the trick of ministry will make you think you're important.
Yeah. Ooh.
And God don't need you.
And your heart might be in the right
Yeah.
place because you're giving yourself. But my wife established some rules. I cannot walk in the house on the phone. And at a certain point, because I've been, on my own business too, that's been, carrying me throughout ministry, right? And business shuts off at a certain hour, flat out. When we're at dinner, the phone stays down. Do not text. You leave it down. You have all your attention. So there are some spaces,
Boundaries.
some boundaries, and just things we practice in to make sure that everybody gets what they need.
Right.
But my wife, but in some cases, we've been kind of figuring out, because my ADD will kick in, bro, and I'll just be laser beam focused, and then my wife will be like, all right, wrap that,
Yeah.
wrap your
Yeah.
phone call up. She in the back, like,
Yeah, but that's a common. I think it goes beyond like just the role of a pastor. It goes into the president of an organization. It goes into the professional athlete. It goes into all these other realms, right, that pull you from your family or the coach. Man, I played quarterback, and I know I have so much to give to a younger generation of quarterbacks. However, I would never be a coach because I seen how high divorce was when it came to coaches. You know what I mean? Like, they never got a chance to spend time with their families. You know what I mean? Because the football team was the family, at some level.
and they'll be pointing more into other people's kids than their own.
Than their own.
Yeah, that's the problem. Position and power produces pressure. It can produce other P words, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself investing your time into others,
Come on.
and your wife is at home, you need to quit, because your job is not that important,
Right.
and neither are you.
Right. Wow. That's so good. And I mean, again, you said you brought up intentions. I think your intentions could be well, but I think it's intention versus impact.
But
know
it
what I
brings up another subject, is the need to be needed. Some pastors might be flowing in that space where we need to feel.
That's a human condition,
Yeah.
though. That's beyond a pastor. That's a human. Men want to feel wanted.
That's pride.
That's pride.
That's pride.
That's pride. Yes, wanting to feel needed, wanting to feel like you need to feel wanted. Yeah, I mean,
I'll say this: a man will always go to the voice that claps the loudest. So the question is, what do you do when your wife isn't clapping?
okay, my mind kind of went a little. What kind of clapping you talking about? You know what I mean?
Because
No, I got you.
there are several different claps.
There's a lot of clapping, you know.
They sound different ways.
Pastor T, that's your boy. You know what I'm saying?
I claim all that.
Like, look, hey, man, I start thinking about my wife clapping. I feel you.
Because we want to talk about it all.
No, right.
I don't want to think about it.
We like
No, I
the
don't think-
sound of reaction.
Right.
Right.
So what do you do when the place that should be your dominant place of affection, time, and care,
That's right.
you feel like you don't get the clapping? Is it that you're not getting it, or is it that you want it on an insatiable level?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a gut check. That's a self check, because we are drawn. That's from men. We need admiration. We need that portion in our lives where we feel like we're Superman, and we'll go outside the house to get it, and then we'll get that. But to your point, what happens when she doesn't clap, or she responds in a negative attention getting? Then everything is an issue to get your attention back home.
Or when everything outside the house is clapping, but as soon as you walk in the house, you're a failure.
Yeah, that's just
You
Joe.
didn't clean this. Why these clothes been sitting here like all week?
Yeah.
Why haven't you picked these clothes up? When you gonna do this? Or when you go, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
exactly.
sometimes that can just play on your mind a little bit to say,
Absolutely.
damn, like, I just got here. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you want? Like, you know,
And the world is giving you all of the accolades that you really are drawn to,
Right.
And then you just,
yeah, but sometimes these are things, right? Just in this process, man. Another thing that called me to this type of platform is like the husbands that God will send to me, and I'll hear this exact thing, bro. When I go home, I feel like a failure because I can't do nothing right.
The Bible even said that Jesus could do very few miracles because of their unbelief.
There it is.
Familiarity in
Yeah.
his own hometown of Nazareth. Now, if Jesus went through it, as a husband, you got to be able to bear it and
on.
mature.
Let's
Yeah.
dig deep.
To
Here we
suck
go.
it up.
Go.
This is where integrity and character, it
Yeah.
all ties into the first lady portion, because your gift will take you where your character may not keep you.
That's right.
How bad is it in a particular culture that we had to come up with a term to say first lady as a reminder to pastors, she's first. Stop putting all these other women
Hold on,
first.
time out. Press pause. You got to repeat that. Your what? Your gift? What? Say that one
Your
more time?
gift will take you places that your character will not keep you. And because your gift opens doors does not mean that your character is ready to walk in. Your wife is a constant reminder from God to say, character. Yes, I know you gifted. I'm clapping. Yes, I
I'm
know you
clapping.
gifted. That's why I married you.
Yeah.
And sometimes, no disrespect, that's why I open my legs. That's why I'm cleaning this house. That's why I'm aiding you. That's why I'm your helpmate. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to grow up. Your character needs to come up. And men don't want to be challenged.
Come
They
on.
don't want to be challenged by other men. And they definitely don't want to be challenged by a woman who's 5'2", but knows more than them and knows the truth about them.
Come on.
See, let me give a transparent moment. One time, me and my wife were arguing. Yes, shout out to my baby, Chrissy. I love
on.
her.
I love
Listen, we can talk about. We were arguing. It was deep. I said, you know how many women out there? She was like, you know how many men out there?
Yeah.
So you don't think about that part. Like,
That was the balance. And then it was like, well, babe, when I go here,
Yeah.
they da-da-da. She said, but they don't know you.
Right.
There it
That
is.
part.
I see you at home.
Right.
There it is.
Clark Kent.
The
You
quick
Superman
way
out there.
There it is. The quick way to shut yourself up is, wait a
Bruh man
minute.
at home.
This not Wonder Woman. This not Superman. You're Clark Kent. She might be Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And this is the comfortable place that we have to get in God, that we love ourselves beyond the accolades of people who don't even know us.
Can you tag team me in?
tag. Come on, man. Let's go.
I'm sorry, I got excited.
Come on.
My man said, Jesus did not do many miracles because of their unbelief. When you said to me that, or you said to us, of your friend who goes home and says, I feel like a failure, to me, that's unbelief. Because when I go home, if she ain't clapping, I can make my own music. The king is here. Hey, I'll play trumpet. I'll play trombone. I'll play
what
it
Mike
all.
Epps do in that movie?
Look. Just because you don't feel it from someone else does not make it not true.
Listen, my favorite.
Hold on, rewind that. Bring that back. Bring that. Hold on, you gotta bring that back.
Here's one of my favorites. Your feelings ain't facts. You know, because that's I hear that every time, Pastor. I feel. But the fact of the matter is, you're still blessed. The facts of the matter is, so you're looking through a lens where you're trying to get something, but that's not necessarily the truth. And that's the posture that we take. Now, to your point, again, my wife and I have a very healthy understanding of who we are, and I do understand how she makes me better, right? And so. That's the knowing of ourselves. We got to get to a place where we're able to expose these fallacies in ourselves and the neediness that we have. You know, so we got to look at ourselves and look at our own character. Let's say to catch up with our calling.
I mean, I would also say though, I've been married a long time, and my wife has said stuff to me that is difficult.
Hey, that's wise.
Spell difficult.
That's wise. That's wise. That's wise.
I mean, you hear it and it's difficult, but I know it's not true.
True.
And if I reacted on an untruth, I'm done.
Hold on, time out. If
No. You
gotta keep going with that.
Spell difficult. No.
Nah, you gotta keep
difficult
rolling
was
with that.
I mean, we've all been there. We've had fights and we've had arguments, and 26 years is a long time. And to suggest to me, and I mean, I'll tell you one of them. One time we were. Am I gonna get in trouble for that?
No, you with the fellas. You look, you with the fellas. If you get in trouble, we get in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
My wife is a strong lady.
Yeah.
Dad is Native American, mom is black. Culture is it just breeds strength.
Yeah.
And so the other day she was saying to me, I couldn't be with a man who's weak-minded, weak fit, because that's just not her culture.
Right.
And so sometimes in our marriage, she'll say something to me like, well, I have to be the man in this relationship and lead. Now, if I was not a man who was not leading and immature, I would fall for that. But I asked the question, show me. Show me where you leading us. Show me where I'm following you. Show me where I'm reacting to decisions that you make. Show me. He could not do many miracles because of their unbelief.
Pastor, I'm about to leave.
See, we got a tag team on this because the show me is what it's about. All of us need to be from Missouri in this moment.
Yes.
Even in the text, we're pastors, so we just talking. Even in the text, Jesus says to Mary and Martha, show me where you laid him.
Right.
If you can't take me to the spot where you gave up or where you were challenged, I can't heal and resurrect the Lazarus in your life. And sometimes our wives are just trying to show us where the dead Lazarus is in our performance, in our responsibility.
Okay,
That's
let me tag in.
Come on, first tag.
So in that moment, what Jesus did, if you were here, he will rise again. Well, we know in the resurrection. And he looked back and said, you do realize I am the resurrection? Not in the future, but in this very moment, I'm the resurrection.
Yeah.
So sometimes we got to remind, in a gentle reminder, I'm all that now in this present space. I know it might look funny and look a little different to you, but I'm it today.
I think Pastor V is right, though. When your wife is challenging you, she's showing you, and I'm going to use your term, the dead spots in our relationship. And if you are the leader, if you are the priest, the prophet, the king in this relationship, it's on you to resurrect what is dying or dead. And so I can't get offended and get in my emotions because she's right.
Come on.
I got to man up and handle my business.
I've got to man up. And it's a compliment for your wife to come to you
There
and
it is.
correct you.
There it is.
And I know we don't hear the word
That's a challenge now.
What?
Come on.
My wife going to correct me?
Yeah, for sure.
Let me just use the word challenge. For your wife to come to you and challenge you is
Critique.
respect all by itself. It means that you can handle the job.
Right.
Let me tell every husband who is listening right now, you're the man for the job, you're the husband for the job, and you can handle the controversy. Stop whimpering down in your feelings.
Right.
Lord have mercy. I'm going to leave that alone.
Man up. That's all I hear.
When I have
That's all I hear.
difficulties at work or, I'm dealing with tough situations, I tell the Lord, thank you. Thank you for these difficulties, these challenges, these hardships.
That's it.
Because you put me in a position to handle them.
Yeah.
Right. And to push that weight and to grow.
I'm going to handle it because you put me here.
That's a worship moment right there. see, because I'm not suggesting that we are our wives' father, but
Right.
sometimes you have to father your household, and that includes your wife.
Right.
A friend of mine, I got to give him credit, Bishop Jason Brownlee, he taught me this several years ago. He said the Lord gave him an epiphany. He said to him, the word father stands for fully able to handle every responsibility.
I love that.
Yeah.
And sometimes as husbands, we only want to handle some responsibilities, but not everyone.
Right.
If your wife has come to you, it's something that you should be able to handle.
No doubt.
Now, providing, I handle. Mortgage, I handle. Bills, I handle. Comforting you, I handle. Wait a minute, you need healing? Now let me partner. Let me go to the master because he's in me for you.
Right.
And so if it's something that you can't personally handle physically, you can handle. You ought to be able to handle it spiritually in
Right.
prayer.
And once you've been in it long enough, you're able to anticipate her needs.
I love that.
You know before she even come to you. You just
even
don't want to
know.
hear it.
You
You just
better
thought
know.
you better know.
You better know.
And a lot of times that's why we get pissed because
Talk
we
about
actually know what she's talking about.
We know.
Right.
You're
It just
angry
I don't
because
like
it's truth.
the pride.
Well, I wouldn't even call it the pride. It's the passivity.
Jesus.
Men love to be passive because it's easy when I don't have to, but you will.
So if I was aggressive, she wouldn't even come to. Oh
right.
God.
Right. But as a
Come on, Pastor T.
but as a husband, I don't get to be passive because if I'm anticipating that's something I learned from my daddy, always anticipate her. She shouldn't have to ask, which means I'm on my job 24/7.
24/7.
Being
Sounds
a
like the
husband
Lord.
is a 24-hour.
And I think that's what we forget. This is, going for your 9 to 5 is okay, even if you're from your 5 to 9. If that's in your, but the husband role, it don't stop.
That's
at all.
why I gotta go. We gotta have dinner. What y'all say is he gonna tell you because I gotta go.
Right. So I mean, this is hard to let go, but I gotta let it go, and I want to just off the strength of this conversation, man. I just want, if you can give we're talking to this husband that's listening to this and like, man, I hear you. Like, what would be one thing you would leave to this husband that's really taking this, may feel convicted by what we're talking about. I hope that, because I feel convicted even listening to this. But I will say, like, what is one thing that each of you will leave with a husband?
The thing I would say is this, is that the Word of God, Genesis 3, the woman will have a desire for her husband. If you unpack husband in that context, it's really God manifested. Somebody to provide for her, protect her, nurture her, love on her. And so our role is to mirror the Father. And if in juxtaposition, if we not acting like God in that, not like my brother over here, a lot of this other man, but in comparison and juxtaposition to God, then we are not on our job. So we have a responsibility to do everything the way that God leads us to do it.
Yeah, we got to keep, So, yeah.
I think the elephant in the room, I want to talk to every husband that feels like quitting, dying, committing suicide, throwing in the towel. If you stop now, you will not know what's at the end of this restoration. God can restore your marriage, but you have to love your wife like Christ loved the church. The church crucified Jesus Christ. Crucified him. But because of his love, he died for the church.
That's
The church would then later come back and love Jesus Christ. But something had to die. What in you is willing to die in order for your marriage to live?
Yeah.
When you identify it, your marriage will live.
I love that. I think Pastor V has set me on fire today. I'm going to take a different tone. I would tell husbands, quit complaining. Murmur, quit complaining and make war. There's so many individuals who are trying to take your wife, your home, your everything. Jesus is a divine warrior king. He's fighting for us, which means you have to fight for yourself and her. So quit complaining and make war. If you don't fight, don't be mad if you lose, because you just giving up. I'm not going to give up. You might take me out, but you're going to say, you know what?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
I love it. Man, this has been a phenomenal episode.
Okay.
And I think
No,
for me,
you
go for
forgetting
it.
yours.
All right. So I'm going to say this. And I pulled this scripture up. And it's Psalms 90:12. It says, so teach us to consider our mortality
Yeah.
so that we might live wisely. If I can encourage a husband, right, with anything, this is something that's ministering to me as we speak, right, is be wise with your time
Absolutely.
with your wife, right? Pick your battles, right? Fight for your marriage.
Right.
Fight for your marriage.
Right.
While you have breath, fight for your marriage. You don't know what you look like or who you would be on the other side of the things that you're fighting for.
That's it.
This has been another episode of Husbandhood.
Yeah.
We dropped the mic here. We done. Let's
Good.
go.
Good.